All right, we are live.
And recording.
All right, Landy.
Hi there. Well, welcome to the Root Cause Marketing website. We are honored to have Miss Dr. Cindy Ross as our guest today and my co-host, Jennifer Wenzel.
Hello, Dr.
Okay.
Ross.
Hi,
Pleasure to have you
nice
here.
nice to meet you, and thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we will just go ahead and dive in if that's okay. I'm happy to introduce our guest, multiple board certified, Dr. Cindy Ross. She's going to be sharing her secrets today as to how to grow a successful functional medicine practice. As a natural medicine doctor and board certified functional medicine practitioner, Dr. Cindy Ross has a deep rooted passion for helping and healing others. She's lived with rheumatoid arthritis for over 21 years, so she has firsthand knowledge of the power of functional medicine. So we're so excited to visit with her today, hear her story, and of course, some of her pro tips for growing a practice.
Thank you so much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll give you a little bit of my background why I decided to go into functional medicine. So, I got sick really young at 19. I was a professional tennis player, and I got sick, diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, ended up at the Mayo Clinic. 23 surgeries later, and multiple chemos, and lots of steroids, and it was a journey for the first 10 years of pretty much my marriage. And my mom ended up dying of what I have, and then my brother and my father ended up passing away from autoimmune diseases. So I started a gym back in 2008 called Bodies by Cindy, and I knew that I wanted to go back to school, and I wanted to change people's lives because I knew there had to be a better way. So I started Bodies by Cindy, and we grew it into a 10,000 square foot facility. We had 26 trainers, and it was my baby. It was something that we grew, and we ended up selling it in 2016, and we retired down to the beach. And I went up to my husband one day, and I was like, I want to keep going. I want to go back to school, and I want to get my doctorate. And so I ended up mastering in nutrition, and then I got my doctorate in natural medicine, mastered as well in functional blood chemistry analysis. But my passion for helping others and know that there is different alternatives than just Western medicine, taking chemo drugs to suppress our immune systems. I wanted to be able to share that with others and help people. I know it firsthand. I know the weight fluctuations. I know the hormone imbalances. I had a hysterectomy when I was 23. So as a woman, from the day that we start our menstrual cycle to the day we die, we're fighting hormones. So I'm always advocating, for myself and for other people's health, because there's so many different alternatives that we can lead a really great quality of life.
It's amazing how many functional medicine and integrative health providers get into the field through their own personal health journeys. In fact, I'd say just about everyone we talk to. Yourself, thank you for sharing that story. It's very powerful, and it's you certainly are not alone. And I love the fact that so many people in the community give back to others to help them avoid what they and their loved ones went through. It's a noble mission. So.
Yeah, I wish I knew then what I know now, and I wish that I could have. I advocated for my family then, but I didn't have the knowledge base, and I wish that I would have, because I think it would have made a difference. Of course, they didn't take the best care of themselves, and I'm sure that you guys see this a lot with functional medicine practitioners. When people come see us, they've exhausted every effort. They've already
Mhm.
MDs, the specialists, and they're just exhausted and frustrated and at their wits' end when they come see me. So I wish we were at the forefront of that journey, and instead of them taking all the medications beforehand.
It's funny you mentioned
Yes.
that. That's why Landy and I launched our business, because we have been in the healthcare field for many years, but we are not healthcare providers ourselves. We want to help healthcare providers such as yourself literally get the word out to avoid that sort of end of the line feeling. We want functional medicine to be the first line of health and wellness for people. So that's literally why we do what we do
I
too.
really love that. I did not know that that was your mission. I love
It absolutely
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. Because as you know, which that's a great segue, nutrition is really powerful, right? In healing. And it definitely doesn't get enough credit in just mainstream society, let alone, as you know, conventional medicine. So you mastered in holistic nutrition. Tell us a
Yep.
little bit more about that, and how it not only benefits the patients that you treat and how you've seen it benefit them, but then also for functional medicine practitioners, how adding that level and that specific type of education to their practice.
I think it's everything, honestly. I mean, it's always been my base. Even when I had my gym, I was always focused on nutrition because for myself, living with rheumatoid arthritis, I've been gluten-free, dairy-free, pescatarian for probably like the last 20 years. And I always say I'm my own guinea pig because I put myself through it to see if it actually works before I broadcast it. But it's the base of everything. And, you know, um, pretty much every patient that comes to see me, they have gut issues and they become super sensitive to everything that they're putting in their mouth. And one of the first things that I do is pretty much put them on an elimination diet to start getting the inflammation down. And it's more of an anti-inflammatory type of diet. One that's not spiking their glucose levels, but I would say it's 99% of everything. I mean, after medical boards last year, I packed on, through the past couple of years of studying, I packed on 55, 60 pounds. So finally this year I was like, okay, I'm going to get my nutrition back in line. And it was everything. And it was a game changer. And I have zero joint pain. So it is crucial for functional medicine practitioners. And I would say that nutrition is the hardest part for the patients to get, right? Because we live in a society where we want that fast fix, and they go to their doctor and they get a prescription and they feel better instantly. Well, functional medicine isn't that. It is a journey, and it is fixing the root cause of what's going on. And so, we start out on a supplement protocol, and the nutrition is always, second base as far as them jumping on board. But I always say that once you start putting those good foods in your body and then you start incorporating the bad foods again, you're going to notice how much your body reacts and how good you feel when you are actually putting the good fuel in. So it's imperative to add it into your practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can attest to that as well. I mean, that's actually what brought me to my first functional medicine practitioner years and years ago when I was having significant digestive issues for the first time in my life. And so, I mean, I went through the whole rigmarole of, of all of that. And yes, it certainly does make a difference. And it's crazy that, we don't give our bodies enough credit at how incredible they are at adapting and literally helping us to survive. I mean, like on every single level. And so our body adapts to the diet and the food that we eat. And so we don't feel crappy after eating a bag of Doritos. It's like the happy hormones are going, right? So we're like, oh no, we feel good. It's probably not healthy, but we feel good. So then
happen, and we're not feeling good anymore.
yeah. So it's like our body adapts to that like level of crappiness, but we don't feel that way because our body is so smart that it already adapted to that level of feeling. So it's like when we take it out, even then, because we're so like not in tune with how our body feels, we're like, well, I really don't even feel that differently sometimes.
Right.
But then when they go to add it in after eating healthy or cleanly for a time, they'll feel it for sure. For sure.
And most of my patients, when they come to me, I would say they're not in tune with their body. And so, I always have to ask them, do you bloat after you eat? And they're like, oh, yes, or I'm constipated, or, and they don't realize that it is their gut and it is the foods that they're putting into their body that is causing inflammation. And so, for me, again, I'm my own guinea pig. So post-COVID of 2020, I had crazy inflammation with my RA after getting COVID. So the after effects were really bad. Well, I'm like pescatarian. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go more plant-based. Well, the more plant-based I went, the worse I felt. And I'm giving myself all these supplements that are supposed to get my inflammation down. And I'm feeling worse and worse and worse. So I end up doing a food panel on myself. And I lit up like a Christmas tree because my gut had gotten off. And you become so sensitive to everything that you're eating. So you literally have to do an elimination diet to figure out what exactly your body is reacting to.
That's so interesting. I've been reading a little bit about how researchers are learning more about the inflammatory effects of COVID-19 and how it's actually a disease that affects potentially blood vessels and
It
the
does.
way that your entire, system responds to everything you put in it. And it's a fascinating topic. It's so amazing that we've almost had this opportunity to, put our medical knowledge leaps and bounds ahead through this horrible thing that we've all lived through in the past few years. One benefit, at least, is that we're finding out a lot that we may not have accelerated otherwise. So, including your own your own anecdotal evidence right there that
I
fish
will
was not what they
say,
eat right there.
I do feel like, that functional medicine has been a lot more on the map now than it was prior to COVID, because I feel like your MDs are really, they're searching for answers that they don't have, and they're looking for that root cause, like where, we need answers. Like there's more to it than just giving out prescriptions, because it's not fixing it. So I think it's definitely helped functional medicine practitioners have more awareness.
Wonderful. So let's talk about awareness and functional medicine. You are a person who specializes in getting out there. You are a master, a maven at media and marketing, which is why we're talking to you today. So we would love to hear more about your own journey with social media marketing, content marketing, getting out in front of the people who you want to help, and maybe some recommendations as to what newer growing practices should prioritize in their marketing budget and the very, very limited marketing time that people have as they're building their functional medicine practice.
Yeah, it does. It takes time, but it's an investment. I started when I had my gym. Clients of mine would say, man, if you could market me like you did Body's by Cindy, we would love for you to market our company. So that's kind of how it came about. And I started a marketing company. Well, I had over 800, 900 videos on YouTube and really grew it. Well, when I sold the business, that all went with the business. So when I decided to start doing videos again, for one, I had to get myself back in shape, because you're a product of what you reach. And I could not be up here telling you about insulin resistant and struggling with insulin resistance. So about 17 weeks ago, I started doing videos. And I map it out. Like, so Tuesdays I do a blog, Wednesdays I do my podcast, and then Thursdays I do a video. And I try to keep it between 2 and 5 minutes, because you lose focus after a while. So I try to just give little tidbits, and usually it's a teaser to my podcast for the following week. And I say, hey, tune in. And it doesn't, once you get into that rhythm, it really doesn't take that much effort. I mean, you can break it down stupid simple. Like this week, I'm going to talk about CoQ10, and you can just take one supplement at a time and just talk about the benefits of it, or talk about leaky gut, or just make it simple. I think so many people, they think marketing is so daunting, and they overthink it, and they overthink themselves out of it when it doesn't have to be that complicated.
That is a wonderful tip. Landy and I have definitely given people, when we do consultations and strategy calls, we'll just give a simple tip like that, and you can just see people's eyes light up. It's almost like, wait, it can be that simple? It's like, yes, you can totally do this. 5 minutes, and you've got yourself a repurposable piece of content that will help your potential clients and your existing clients, and even bring about referrals. It can be that simple.
It is. So you got your platforms, right? So you got Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, TikTok. And I really wasn't doing a whole lot with TikTok before I started the videos. And then I kind of started noticing that a lot of functional medicine doctors were on TikTok and getting very, very good reach. So I was like, okay, I'll just start throwing my videos out there. But literally, you can throw it on YouTube, and you just throw it across the platforms. And I'm still trying to figure out, and maybe you guys can tell me, and you'll have to look at my analytics on it, but it was something I didn't even fix myself that day. And I told my husband, I was like, if I knew I was going to get that many views, I would have fixed myself. We had just got home from Ireland, and I was tired. I was jet lagged, and I was like, okay, I had a prop, and so I like had the apple cider vinegar, and I was like, these are the benefits of apple cider vinegar. It went viral. It was my first viral TikTok. And
Congrats.
so I'm just like, I don't understand. I wasn't dressed up. I didn't have a scrub shirt on. I was just in everyday clothes. And so I've been kind of playing around with it to see why that particular video went crazy on TikTok. And now I have one from last week that I was showing a bottle of stevia. And I think it's maybe the props that are kind of getting people's attention. I don't know. It's kind of
Absolutely.
it's kind of just a plug and play to see what works.
Yeah. The TikTok is built around the scroll. Literally, people, report coming up for air after 2 hours, and they didn't even realize that much time had gone by because it's just the constant scroll, and it's really that pattern interrupt. If you're holding something, it's not just a face or a body. If there's something else in the frame with you as you're discovering, that may be enough to stop the scroll and just be like, oh, what are they doing? What are they showing me? Oh, I actually want to know about this because this is something that's very interesting to me. And then suddenly you have a new subscriber, you have a new viewer, you have people sharing your videos. And I think that TikTok works really well with the very low fi quality as well. They people love produced videos, very produced videos, and then they love things on the complete other end where it's just off the cuff. You know,
It's just
so yeah.
the same. My husband has a real estate company that I market for as well. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, you got to start doing your videos. And he overthinks it.
Mm.
So I'm like, don't overthink it. Just be really basic. Like we're at a restaurant and advertise the city. I mean, it can be just really simple. Keep it simple. That's if I overthink it or if I make some big production out of it, it's going to be too hard and too complicated. And it takes up too much time that I don't have, nor any other practitioner is going to have.
Right. Right. I remember in our last webinar, we were talking to a woman who specializes in Instagram Reels for her own
Yep.
marketing. And she said that her most viral video was one where she literally showed the contents of her desk for 8 seconds. And it just went crazy. Just the fact that she showed, this beautiful, like you could see nothing except for beauty behind her. And then there's her desk. And it was insane. So it was very funny to hear about.
I was doing a video by our pool a couple weeks ago, and I was trying to get my dog to stay to the side. And she's a Connie Corso, and she's big and massive. I was like, you know what? It's probably good. This is my dog Vita, and I introduced her, and it was fun. You just have fun with it.
Are those the dogs that look kind of like more slender Saint Bernards, if I remember right?
They're like a mastiff, but the Connie Corsos are the smaller of the mastiffs. But yes, she's
Cool.
beautiful. She's
Cool.
beautiful. I actually kicked her outside right now, so she's not too happy. So I want to drop a tip for your other functional medicine practitioners. There is a site called That Clean Life that I use. You know it?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And decluttering is really big on TikTok right now, just connecting the two subjects. Yes.
Yeah. It's really, really good, That Clean Life. And it's a platform that I use, and it integrates really well with all of my platforms that I use for my practice. But my patients really love it as well. So definitely share that with them.
And is that, if I remember right, is that a place where you can find products for sale as well?
No,
Okay.
no. Full Script is where you can find products, but That Clean Life is more about every meal plan in there is created by a nutritionist or a dietitian, and you can go in there and filter it, based on celiac or IBS or gluten intolerance, or really like diabetes. You can dial it in however you want to, but it's fantastic.
Oh, that's a wonderful tip.
Thanks, Pat. Okay, so we've covered your approach to social media content managing, how you make it very simple for yourself. So therefore you make it doable, and then you can make it consistent, right? Because that's how the engagement, the following is really built, is through that consistency. Um, and just like weight loss and fitness too, people tend to like to make it more complicated or make it bigger than it needs to be, than sort of like breaking it down into those bite-sized pieces. So thanks for that. So specific recommendations to, growing and newer practices as to how they should prioritize their marketing budget. What should be, top of priority things, and then what are marketing items that can maybe wait a little bit longer for newer practices to sink money into.
So it can be really inexpensive. People always think that marketing has to be so expensive. It doesn't. I mean, if you can take a couple hours on the weekend when you're not seeing patients, maybe like on a Sunday, and you can schedule out your marketing. There's platforms like Buffer, Hootsuite. I use Hootsuite, been using Hootsuite for years. You can literally schedule out your marketing, your social media marketing for the entire week. I do it like, especially I'll do it if I'm going on vacation, because I want the consistency. You want to make sure that you're not missing a post with the algorithms. Utilize your personal Facebook as well, because it's a free platform. People want to see you. They want to see this person that's treating them. They want to know you're real. So I pretty much share my life with everybody every day. I'm always posting on stories. Make sure that you're using hashtags, relevant hashtags, and then tag as well. Like if you're using products, or you're at a place that gets a lot of followers, tag them in it, because that way it opens you up to a whole new set of audience that you wouldn't normally have. And then as far as, this was a tip that I learned a while back as a practitioner. I always tell people to make sure that you have your general practitioner on board. And I like to know that information when they sign up with their medical intake forms with me. And then I just started doing like Dear Doctor packets. So when a patient comes to me, I send them out I'll fax them over a letter, or I'll send them out a packet with like my rack cards in them and a referral pad that says, pretty much, we are sharing care for this patient. This is what I do. And if you have any questions, or if you have a patient that you feel that meets my service, and they would need my service, please feel free to reach out to me. So that way you're starting to market to all the doctors in the area as well. And it's a great way to not spend a lot of money, but get it out there. And, things that I get approached all the time by advertising in like, holistic magazines and things like that. I haven't dipped my toes in that, just because I've done it before in the past. And really, I feel like some of the best marketing that you can do is by social media and word of mouth. If someone leaves you a review, blasting it out on your social media, and doing a good job and being a good practitioner, and people are going to talk about you. They're going to refer you. They're going to tell their friends and family about you. And that's the way that you're going to grow.
I'd actually like to ask you a follow-up about that, because this is something that people get a little bit squirrely about, with very good reason. When you get a review, there are varying schools of thought over whether or not it's ethical, legal, the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do to actually share that review, even completely anonymized or stripped of a name, just because of the even possible potential of somebody being identified by a particular, health issue or disorder. How do you try to protect yourself, your business, and your clients when you do share positive reviews? How do we get the word out while still remaining,
a couple of things, and I actually did the marketing for an acquisition company that did nothing but health clinics. So they were super strict. They did not want a name on there. We could reshare all the reviews, but it just could not have a name. As long as they published it, like on Google, it's out there, so you can share it. If they were like posted on your Facebook, I would strip the name. if you wanted to reshare it on your social media, like create something in Canva with the review on there, I would strip the name of it and just say, thanks. We love seeing reviews like this. It really makes our day. But if they publish it on Google, it's out there. So
Or
it is
or another public site like that.
absolutely. I get them on Yelp and Google. I mean, I get them across the board, but those are your two big ones that you're safe. You're safe to share those.
Great. I mean, clearly none of us are lawyers here, but we
Yes.
just want to take reasonable cautions. And so just something that we might want to remind people to think about their patients' privacy as they're sharing reviews, if that's something that may possibly lead back to a specific person. So.
And I do have them on, like when I see a patient, I will send them after like the first maybe 2 weeks that they're working with me and they're feeling good and they start feeling good. And I'll say, hey, if you have time, will you leave me a Google review? And I'll send the link to my review to them on text. And then when they leave that, those are the only ones that I publish on my website are the Google reviews.
That's a good idea.
That way it's nice and safe and they don't mind it out there. And I usually will ask them, do you mind if I share this on social media?
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Dear Doctor packets, what kind of response do you see from your patients, general practitioners, or other providers? Do they tend to, you get good referrals that way?
Yeah, really, really good referrals. Again, it kind of going back to COVID, they're looking for other alternatives to be able to offer. And, as we know, your MDs, they have very little time that they can spend in the office with you. They're not knowledgeable in the nutrition area. If they are, it's because it's their own self, they're healthy and they're working out, but a lot of them just don't have a knowledge base in the nutrition. So, or even in the prevention side of things. So they're looking for answers. And I'm noticing that, especially in our area, I'm getting referrals pretty much 60, 75 miles out from where I'm at right now from doctors.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. My question on, on that is it seems like they're pretty open to, kind of passing along that work. Do you feel that it's always been that way, or have you seen, a certain level of resistance from, conventional doctors and partnering with them and things like that? Because
Definitely.
it's completely out of their realm of comfort and knowledge. So have you met resistance at all?
Yeah, I've met resistance for my personal self because I can remember being so sick with RA, and I hope that my doctor is my friend. And I haven't seen him in forever because I manage it on my own now, but he is my friend, and he used to be like, Cindy, just take your medicine. And I'd be like, but what about this diet? Do you think this could work? And he would just be like, take your medicine.
Non-compliant patient.
So non-compliant through the years. He would get interviewed. I'd be on national magazines for RA, and he would get interviewed, and they would say, who's her doctor? And they would say, are you her doctor? And he would say, no, she's her doctor. So I was way before my time. But yeah, there was a huge shift. And because even now, I mean, I'm seeing, I get hearsay around that the rheumatologists are really starting to change, and they're really starting to talk about nutrition in the office and saying that, maybe you should meet with a nutritionist. So there is definitely a pivot because there used to be a lot of resistance because there just wasn't a knowledge base on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's a new concept. And so anytime something new is introduced, it's always this unknown, and that fear of unknown. People are always resistant to that until they kind of see some, positive results of this thing working, and which they are now. So that's really great. I mean, like I said, the nutrition is so underrated and forgotten, so easily forgotten about. It's a simple concept. It's not easy. It is by no means easy. It takes a lot of effort and intention to do that, but it's simple, at its core, I guess.
Yeah, I've tried adopting a Mediterranean diet over the past year, but I can't stop eating ice cream every day. So I mean, not quite part of the diet, but So, speaking of struggles, what are the biggest struggles you see with other functional medicine providers as they work to build their business? What are you seeing as some of the issues that people are facing as newer or growing practitioners that you might want to give just a little bit of advice about?
I have a colleague of mine that's out on the Outer Banks in North Carolina, and I think some of her struggles, she's, every state is regulated, with functional medicine, like who recognizes it, who doesn't. So she's very, I think she's a lot more strapped than I am here, and she's scared to put herself out there on social media. So she's having a hard time getting the word out, and she does a lot more group trainings, teaching workshops, and she's just having a hard time with that, getting it out there on social media and not having that knowledge base. Social media is everything. I mean, it is going to be your word of mouth. And if you can learn the hashtags and if you can learn the relevant tags, you can start putting the little feeders out there, is what I call them, the little feeders, and you'll start gaining traction on your post. But I see it a lot, the social media aspect of things. I mean, not just with functional medicine. I see it with all the businesses. It's just something that people really struggle with. And I think it's because they overthink it and they're not taking it back down to that simple, let's just be simple. Let's give our patients some nuggets. Like, what can they take away from what I'm saying today? Like apple cider vinegar, 4 benefits of apple cider vinegar. They just want some education. So that's really as simple as it has to be. Is just give them nuggets.
I love that point of view too, because not everybody feels photogenic or feels comfortable on camera. But there's always something that people can do on social media to help educate and build up the knowledge of their potential patients and their patient base, whether it's being on video or not. Social media is to share, like you said, you share everything about yourself. You share tips, you share products, you share sites.
Everything.
You don't have to be on video to do that in social media. While it's compelling and people love it, that's also what, just little snippets of, a text box on Instagram could be, or
right.
a Facebook post,
and
or
there's
a page.
like if you use like Canva or Hootsuite, there's free images all day long. There's free images. And so you literally you can do a little text box over an image. You can voice over it. There's so many different options out there. And Canva is a great tool. I don't know if you guys know Canva. I love Canva.
I've been a pro subscriber since they released the pro.
Yeah. So I have the brand kits set up for each one of my clients. I love it. Like it just makes life really easy. And, you can pretty much and I'm sure you guys do this too. And I saw your advertising yesterday for this podcast, but you set up a template and it's there, it's done. Your logo's on there. You can just replace the pictures and the verbiage and it's done. It takes minutes and it makes your life really easy. But if you do not know Canva, get to learn Canva. I love it. And it literally makes everyone a graphic designer. My graphic designer that works for me, she's been with me for like 9 years. She hates Canva because she's like, you're graphic designers. I'm like, I know.
Canva lets us be.
Yes, exactly.
And I think too, so I have some social media marketers that have been working with me for a while that run my Life Wellness Forever practice, and they make every image beautiful and it's all within my color scheme and it's beautiful. I run my Dr. Cindy Ross stuff myself and it's a little bit more real. Like it's me, I'm sitting on the beach, I'm reading, I'm talking about my book club, I'm just being real. I'm sharing my fat pictures to my thin picture. I mean, it's just, because I think people like to see the real.
Fantastic way to put it too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Because they want to see someone they can relate to. Yeah. And like you had said with that TikTok apple cider vinegar video, it's like you didn't make yourself up, you just showed the thing and it went viral. So was it, actual product, scroll, stop, item, or was it the fact that like, hey, there's this woman, she looks like me and like I can do that, or is it a combination of both? Right? But yeah, like I get that. So, I mean, and it's always like a multiple items. Normally, none of that stuff lives in a vacuum, but it's fun to test, right? So,
Yeah,
uh,
every day I do a video, every week I do them on Thursdays, and every week that I do them, I'm like, okay. And like, I feel like it's such a letdown now, like if they don't go viral, because you hit this mark. Why aren't they all hitting this mark? But it's kind of fun to kind of play around to see why that one went viral. So
Yeah.
hmm do you post out of curiosity with those videos and all, you're very consistent with your schedule. I mean, do you post it at the exact same time or with those schedulers? Do you want to let them guide you? Because I know within Facebook, like, in their schedule, they kind of give you times where your ideal audience is paying attention. So do
I
that
do.
or you do
Yeah, I pay attention to my analytics and look at the times, but I try not to put too much stress on myself because things come up. So that is like the perfect week is to have it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, yesterday I got busy. I missed my blog. So today I'll do my blog and my podcast. It'll both go out. But don't put stress on yourself. Just make sure you get it in during the week, but definitely pay attention to your analytics. Like if it's and pay attention to the weather because the weather actually plays a big part of it. If it's a rainy day or a day that there's football on, women are on their, especially women, and the women are the majority of my audience. Okay. And so I know that that's a day that I should be posting on. So last week I was a little late on my,
Mm.
it went out on Saturday during the football game, and I was not disappointed, and it did not go out on Thursday as planned. But I try not to put too much stress on myself. I just try to get it out during the week. But that is I try to just stay within that rim, that schedule. But your analytics tell you everything. It tells you who your audience is. It tells you where they're coming in from, Facebook, website, mobile phone. I mean, like everything. Look at those analytics because if you are not posting at your optimal times, you are losing that reach that you really are working so hard, and you work hard to get the content out. So you want it to go out at an optimal time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. That's great information. Okay, well, we can wrap up here. We do have just one final question for you. So if you were to offer just one piece of advice to someone just starting out a new functional medicine or an integrative health practice, what would you tell them?
Let's see. If I was just starting out,
What would
I
you
would
tell yourself if you were going back in time too, for that matter?
I I would definitely say get a good like CRM. Like I use Get Healthy. Are you guys familiar with Get Healthy?
Actually, that's one that I don't think we've come across yet. And just to clarify for people who may not be familiar with the term, that would be a customer
It's
relationship manager.
yes.
CRM.
And it's Get and Healthy is HEALTHIE.
Okay.
It is fantastic. It really controls everything. Like, so I do a lot of blood work. So it allows me to order blood work if I need to order blood work through there. It integrates through Avexia Labs. So if I order outside of there, it integrates. It handles all of my appointments. It handles my credit card processing. My patients can go right on there and buy their package. It literally does everything, email marketing, drips. I think it's just a time saver. And if you don't have that in place, you are going to be chasing your tail and you're going to be losing so much time. So definitely get a good CRM in place.
That is wonderful advice. I know people may have heard
Hmm.
of things like Patient Pop or Jane, or there are a lot out there. Get Healthy sounds amazing, and I'm going to look into it now, so that we can recommend it to people too, like you just did. Um, it helps keep everything in one place, and
One,
like you said, simplify, simplify. I love
they,
that.
they can even like log their food, log their blood pressure, blood sugar, and we can chat on there, so you don't have to use your personal cell phone number. Because I do give out. I'm very personable with my patients because I think communication is key. So I actually give out my cell phone when a patient comes on board because that's the only way that we know how to fix you is if you're communicating with me. So, but it does absolutely everything. So I would definitely check them out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cindy Ross, for the wisdom and guidance that we've heard today and for sharing your story with us. It's been wonderful to speak with you today.
So nice to meet you both. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. We know you're a very busy woman, multiple businesses, and you're doing just a great job changing lives, changing the world. So we just really, really appreciate your time and being that role model for us personally. You know, living the wellness that you're talking about and preaching about to your clients and sharing it. So it's just really great, and we just really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
And if
Thanks.
people listening to this want to reach out to you, where can they find you? Where would be the best place to find you?
Reach out to me at cindy@drcindyross.com or visit my website at lifewellnessforever.com.
Wonderful.